Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Run Yogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. Over the last 2 years, I've had the privilege of talking to some amazing people, day-to-day people, who are on an extraordinary journey of well-being through endurance sports. I hope you took some possibility back into your lives, took some action, and maybe some inspiration to perspire. If you're on this channel for the first time today, please do consider subscribing to it. Glad to have Arnab Banerjee back in the seat today. He just completed his first 200-miler race in the beautiful Cascade Mountains at the Bigfoot 200, one of the apparently the toughest 200-miler races out there. So we get behind the scenes on how he trained for it, so we can learn a few tips. And how did he manage to finish so strong with all the excitement, drama, and the fantastic finish. Let's dig in. Hey Arnab, welcome back to Run Yogi Diaries.
Hey Shantash, thanks for bringing me back. So happy to be here. Last time I think we had a blast. At least I had a blast, and so very very happy to come back and talk about new adventures.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been up to some big stuff. I see you're wearing the T-shirt Bigfoot 200.
Proudly.
Just did the 200 miler. How's life been? Otherwise, pandemic is over, so life back to normal, huh?
Life back to normal, but good thing is work is still mostly remote, so that gives us, I think, a little bit more flexibility in life. But yeah, life is as usual complicated. I have 2 kids, both in school, so and I have all this craziness of signing up for this big event. So. And I like to train for those, so it takes a lot of time for that. Yeah.
But the kids are going back to the school. Into the school?
They're full time. They're full time in person, and I am mostly hybrid. I go like 1 or 2 days, but mostly work from home. Yeah.
Okay. Terrific. So, we're here to spend some time talking about your 200-mile finish recently, and one of the toughest races I heard in the 200-mile itself. But let's get your perspective. So let's maybe go to day 0 when you got this bright idea. Hey, I want to do a 200-miler. When was that?
Yeah, it was actually last year. So I think I told you last time. I'm not I'm relatively newcomer to ultra running scene. And the last year I actually did 200 milers. It was almost back to back. So one was in March, Badger Mountain Challenge, that's in Washington. And then in May, like within 1.5 months, I did Bryce Canyon 100 milers, which is in Utah. It's a hard one. It's pretty altitude desert race. So I know as soon as I finished those 100 milers, like I know it was you stay on a high for a while, and I was thinking, okay, so I can do 100, but what about 200, right? So I know a few of my friends have done that. Some people have done multiple. You have some of them on your podcast, people and others, and I talk to them every now and then, and so that I was intrigued, right? So I'm very curious about this. Like it's like human potential, like human limit. So started thinking, okay, is 200 twice as difficult as 100, or is it a altogether different thing? How do you prepare for this? It's not like I'm going to do double the amount of training than I did in 100, but that's not even evenly possible, right? So what is it, right? How do you think about it? How do you prepare for it physically, mentally, psychologically, even logistically, right? Something, as long as that, right? So from that curiosity, like, I think I started thinking, okay, maybe I want to do a 200 mile. I mean, there are a lot of great 100 milers around the country. I want to do, many of them, but I said, okay, let's go up a distance and see if I can tackle it. And I think I talked about it in the last podcast. My background, more like mountaineering. So this longer events intrigues me, right? Going into the remote wilderness for many days, like surviving there, climbing, just going and going. Like, so that's kind of where I come from. Like, I have done Himalayan expeditions over months, right? So I thought that maybe this is something that I will enjoy. And uh, and then immediately, actually, when so the Bryce was in May, and then last year Bigfoot, they generally opened the lottery immediately, after the event. So that was in August, and the lottery opened, and I said, okay, I'll put my name in. And this was actually within a couple of months, a month and a half, I was
So the Bigfoot
selected,
has a
right?
lottery. The Bigfoot has a
They put
lottery.
yeah, believe it or
Okay.
not, there is enough crazy people who wants to run 200 miles that they had to do a lottery.
But I saw there was like 135 finishers. I mean, so it's just what, 135 people
It's
that are allowed to run?
no, it's 200. I think it's
Okay.
they let 225 people to run. This year, I think
Hmm.
it was around 220. Like, some people last minute don't show up. It was
Hmm.
225 roster, and then I think around 75 did not finish. Yeah, as you were saying. Like, yeah. So ultimately, then 130 people actually, 30ish people
Wow.
actually finished. Yeah, yeah. So,
That's like
but still,
40%,
around, yeah,
40% drop
yeah,
off.
is a high drop off. Yeah, they were saying the same thing. I was talking to the race organizers, race director. They're saying the same thing. Like, people, this is the highest drop off of all 200
Yeah.
milers.
Yeah. So you were talking about the just
The
your
lottery, yeah, yeah, yeah.
lottery.
So
Yeah.
so so my name came up, and I said, okay, I'm good to go. And still, I have 1 year, which is excellent, right? Which is like, I have 1 year to prepare for this thing. And I think it's plenty enough. But still, there are other things in life, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
just running. And I was also, in probably have seen in my posts and blog that I was also going to run Boston Marathon in April. So that makes things a
Hmm.
little complicated, right? So April Boston Marathon, and then this event is in August. So it makes a little complicated how you train for it, right? So you have to train
Hmm.
for a marathon, which is a more of a like shorter, faster event, and this is more of a longer, mountain event. And there
Hmm.
is not much difference between April and August, right? So I had
Hmm.
to plan, training blocks in a way so that I can do both reasonably well. So
Hmm.
I don't race too much. I try to keep my race very minimal. Like, in a year, I'll probably do like maybe three maximum A races, right? That I really focus on. Others are more, just almost like preparation. So that's the way I thought about it. That last year,
Hmm.
I said I have a 1 year, but I have a like Boston Marathon, which I want to take seriously. I want to do my best, and at the same time, I also want to do my best in these 200 milers, because this is my first. Figuring it out how to do it will be a game changing for experience
Yeah.
for myself. So what
Yeah.
I did is, from last August to end of the year, I kind of focused more on the ultra running side. So I gave
Hmm.
it a more of a ultra running training block, and
Well, what
then
does it
from
mean?
around,
Like, what? Okay, talk to that
uh,
a little bit. What does
yeah,
it
yeah,
mean?
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's definitely, so the way I train is, doesn't matter whether it's marathon or ultra. I try to keep my intensity more of a polarized. They call it polarized
Hmm.
training, meaning 80-20. So 80% slow running, really slow running, and 20% is really hard running.
Mhm.
And when I'm doing marathon block, that that 20% is really intense. So I'll say, almost 10 to 15% I'm going, very intense running, and then maybe another. So it's kind of changes, like 75%, 25% almost during the
So you
marathon
said
block.
the first block was from
Mm.
August, was the ultra block, right? So
Yeah.
um, which was basically 80-20, 80 low intensity and 20 high intensity.
20
And
high intensity, yeah,
right.
not
And
super
how?
high. So because
Yeah.
it's ultra, I keep it, and that high intensity generally happening, in the trail, right? I'm trying to do
Hmm.
uphill running. I'm trying
Hmm.
to do, downhill hard running, things like that. On a marathon block,
And are you
yeah.
using? Do you use heart rate based
Mm.
training for intensity measurement, or how do you know what is
No.
high intensity, low intensity?
Yeah,
How do you
yeah.
know?
So there's two ways to really know.
Hmm.
One is like by feel. You
Hmm.
like there's scale of 1 to 10. 10 being the highest anaerobic,
Right.
5, 6 being you're walking. Then everything falls in between.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
there's various way to kind of test that, like like tempo, speed. Can you if you can speak, if you can't speak a sentence but a few words, like that's kind of a tempo speed. So that's one way of
Hmm.
doing it. More scientific way of doing it is, there is a chart. This is like, Jack Daniels, a
So
guy,
how do you do it?
yeah.
So
So
what
I
is your
yeah
method?
I do it a mixture of that. Like this is by feel, and then another method is, Jack Daniels VO2 chart, which is like you actually measure yourself, right? You either do a like a mile repeat, or you can do like a 10K race run, right? You say, okay, I go run a race for 10. You can do a real race or do by yourself, like, or even, 5K also works, right? So you get a time. Say if you run a 10K, your hardest you can do, like say you can run it in, say you ran it in 50 minutes. Then you can plug that number in the table and say, okay, my VO2 is this. And then from that, there's another table. You can say, okay, for this VO2, you're supposed to run your tempo run at this pace, tempo run. So
Hmm.
that's your baseline. And then
Okay.
you want to say,
The-
okay, I want to go here, right? I'm here, I'm VO2 48, but I want to go to VO2 52, because that's where I can run a 3-hour marathon, for example. Then you say,
hmm.
okay, I'm at 42. So I will, in this training cycle, my goal is to increase those paces step by step to go to 52,
Right.
right? So that's the way. That's more scientific, how you
So
can
is
do
that
it.
what you did? Is that
Yeah,
what you
yeah.
did?
That's how I train. So this is called
Okay.
target pace training. So I have like
Hmm.
a chart. We say, okay, my tempo runs, I target this. My
Okay.
800-meter interval, I target this. My 1K repeats, I target this. So this is more marathon oriented. But this is the, cool thing, right? I take that marathon. This is very disciplined, very, scientific training. I take that to the ultra running as well.
Hmm.
I personally think there is not much difference between
Hmm.
how you train for marathon and ultra marathon. There are a few differences I'll highlight. But if you train for marathon properly, your ability as ultra marathon is really going up and up and up.
Hmm.
And then you have to layer more specific training, specificity. We call it specificity. This is really trail running, right? You have to do a lot of elevation, because it's in marathon training you are running on flat, on running on paved surface mostly, not running too uphill. I did some uphill downhill because Boston is hilly, but it's nothing, right? If you think of, like, it's like 400, 500 feet compared to 42,000 feet. uh, but so that's the specificity, right? So for the ultra running, mountain ultra running, I think the specificity is important, which is doing a lot of elevation, because more you climb, the specific muscle, you need to develop those. So you can't just take your marathon training and just go directly to ultra running and expect to be very good.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
it does not
So
really
so
translate.
I just want to so let's just get
Mm-hmm.
back into the
Yeah.
your first block. That's what I was interested to kind of
Mm-hmm.
double click on that a
Mm-hmm.
little bit.
Yeah.
So your first block of training was an ultra block, and what you're
Mm-hmm.
saying is that you did a 80-20, low
Mm-hmm.
intensity, 20% high intensity, and the way you're measuring intensity is through mostly through pace and through the VO2 max chart that you
Mm-hmm.
created, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what you're saying is that so I get the intensity
Mm.
part, but for the easy 80% runs, you're just also doing it by feel. As long as you're able to speak while you run, that kind of
you
your
can you can you
measurement
can
of,
get
yeah.
you can no you can from that same chart you get your easy pace. So like
Okay.
my, yeah, so say my easy pace is 9:30, right?
Hmm.
And then my I'm just giving an example, right? But
Yeah,
say
yeah,
you
yeah,
do all the calculation.
yeah.
uh, my easy pace is 9:30, so 9:30 I will run all the easy days. So I generally do like easy hard, easy hard, easy hard, that kind of rhythm. So
Right.
if Monday I'm running hard, Tuesday I'll run a easy recovery run. So
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
recovery run will be between 9:30 to 10. I mean, it's hard to be exact 9:30,
Hmm.
but in
Hmm.
that
Hmm.
vicinity, right? Then maybe Wednesday I'm doing say interval, right? So 800-meter intervals. So I'll look at the chart, say, okay, 800 meters, those I'm supposed to run at 6:30 pace,
Hmm.
right? So I'll go on a track and I'll try to hit that pace. Again, it does not happen all the time. I'm not
Yeah.
professional, right? There's daily
Yeah.
stress, all that thing. But that's goal, right? That's
Yeah.
sometimes I
Yeah.
may hit it, sometimes I don't hit it. That's fine. Um, then the following day is easy day again. Like I'll try to run a 10K or whatever, or 10 miles, whatever. That's easy pace, very easy. So the easy one, I can even slow down more. That's what they say. That's what
Hmm.
people say,
Hmm.
that
Right.
try to slow down as much as you want, as much as you need, because
Yeah.
easy days, you need to really recover so that you can work hard on the harder days. So I think a lot of runners does the mistake of not going easy enough on easy day, and
Yeah.
as a result they can't go hard on the hard days. So as a result they're always doing training as a moderate intensity, and
Hmm.
that's does not really lift their performance as much they could. So I again, these are all theory but also practice. So I I have researched enough, I have
Yeah.
learned enough, and I
But it's
try to
working for
use
you.
that. Yeah,
It's
it's
working for
working.
you.
Yeah, and I try to apply that. I'm trying to be as disciplined as a professional runner, right? I don't have a
Yeah.
coach,
Yeah.
but yeah, but I try to take the same training principle and try to apply, because I don't have a lot of time. So I my
Hmm.
philosophy is I have a short time to train, so
Yeah.
I need to do it methodically, scientifically, not randomly,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
to get the most out of it. And that's what I do. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. So,
Mm-hmm.
so your first block was the ultra block, and how many in this block for ultra training? How many hours of training do you commit to in a week?
Yeah, I don't really measure by hour, it's more by mileage. So this
Hmm.
fast ultra block, I decided not to exceed 80 to 85 miles per week.
Okay.
And this was not, and again, this is another principle, training principle I go by. It's not like s- same week, same mileage every week. It's
Hmm.
generally vary. So I call it, again, not I call it, it's there like a training
Yeah.
terminology. There is a concept of mesocycle and microcycle. Mesocycle is say 1 month, like you say 4 weeks.
Hmm.
You can define whatever works for you. Call it 5 weeks, whatever. So in a mesocycle, you say, okay, this mesocycle I'm going to focus on my speed or my endurance or my speed endurance, like whatever, right? So, and then you put that kind of workout in that 5 weeks, and then you vary it so that you start with say you want to hit peak 80, so you start with 60, then you increase it 60, 70, 75, 80, and then the last week actually drop by 50%, because you want to increase it, push your body and then take a step back and
Hmm.
get that, recover and get the benefit. Like if you never do this, so varying the training intensity and volume per week help your body to actually absorb the benefit of the training.
Right.
So when you say now how much, it depends, right? So I'm always varying, right? The Not only varying the volume intensity, also varying the type of exercise. So in winter, for
Hmm.
example, in the fall, in the winter, I live in Seattle, a lot of rain. So not a lot of running often. I'll try to bike, indoor biking. I'll try to. I have elliptigo, so often I'll just go on elliptigo in fall, not in winter. Winter is too much. To winter, I generally actually run more because it's easier to run in rain than bike.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm always trying to mix it up, and of
Yeah.
course, I do a lot of strength training, at least 3-4 days a week. I'll do strength training. I'll do mobility, flexibility again 3-4 days. So I'm doing a lot of different things. But running volume wise, I will vary it. And at that first block, to answer your question, first that was like 4 months block between so September, October, November, December. That 4 months block, I said, I will hit up to 80, not more than that. And that's what I did, right? So I did that. Then in December, I took actually a break. I went to India, uh, took like a 2-3 weeks of break. The break got longer, unfortunately, because I got COVID while I was trying to travel back. So I had to take another 2 weeks off. Then when I started running, I actually got a nagging injury. So again, I had to do so.
Ouch.
My Boston marathon training cycle got very
Hmm.
short. Actually, I could not
And how
start
was it
training
after?
until
How was your post-COVID experience? Did you feel loss of fitness?
no, nothing. Thank
Really?
God it did not happen to me. Yeah, it
Hmm.
is happening to a lot of people, even a lot of fit, runners,
Yeah.
athletes.
Yeah.
It has happened. So I was worried, but
Hmm.
yeah, I was not one of those people. I think I
Yeah.
don't know how it affects people. Yeah, yeah. I was back on my feet. There was no respiratory problem. Nothing. Yeah.
That's great. Yeah. For like
Mm-mm.
10 days. Did you give
Yeah, I
yourself
took
10 days before you started?
yeah, yeah. I took a 10 days off. I did, just isolated myself from my family, and I was actually feeling all right after 4 days.
Hmm.
I even started running a little
Okay.
bit in
Okay. So
those
it was a
10 days.
pretty
Yeah,
mild for
yeah.
you.
It was pretty mild.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. But still,
Yeah.
that 10 days, I really, I was not really thinking training. And
Yeah.
then when I started training, then I got a little bit of injury on my left leg, and I said, okay, uh, means I can be just keep training on this and make it worse, or I can just take another 2-3 weeks light and fix it and then come back. So that's what I did. So as a result, my Boston preparation was not very good.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, that I had only like February, March, really 2 months, and Boston is mid-April.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what happened. Then after post Boston, I immediately again turn on the ultra knob,
Yeah.
and this last block was really really intense. So I wanted to
Hmm.
hit 100-mile week, which is a lot for a person like me. Like, we are amateur, means professional runners regularly do
Yeah.
100
Yeah.
miles a
Yeah.
week.
Yeah.
I have never done 100 miles a week before,
Yeah.
outside the
What
race. Like, when you
What's the
when you do
longest? What was your longest training mileage before this? Highest
around
before you
90,
trained for this?
yeah,
9. Okay.
90s, yeah. A couple of times, I think last year I did like seven half marathon in a day, just for fun, right? I will go
Okay.
and run. Oh, yeah,
So
so
not
that's
too
what I can.
far.
Not too far, but
Yeah.
those are like slow running. This is
Hmm.
like 100 miles running, but with a lot of intensity, like at least one tempo run in a week. There are fartleks. So on the long running, there are like periods of high intensity running, hill intervals. So it has a lot of intensity, and also trail running, right? So that 100-mile week had almost 20,000 feet climb too. So
Wow.
two or
Wow.
three of those runs were in the two runs. Like in the weekends, I did back to back trail running in local trails, and Seattle has some fantastic trail running. So yeah, so that was hard, and that the way I built on it, it was not just a 100-mile week. It was like pretty intense. Like, there was like 380+ mile weeks, so 80, 85, 80. Then I took a week off, down 60, and then I hit 100. So I did a lot of volume and a lot of elevation. Like, each week I was doing like at least between 20 to 30K elevation in the mountains. The whole philosophy was like there are like two or three things I was trying to emphasize during that. One is of course the climbing part, because I knew Bigfoot, I have to do a lot of climbing in rough terrain. So I had the advantage of doing it because I live in Washington. The race is in Washington. It's similar terrain, right? Though it is southern Washington, but I'm familiar with that area. I've run climbed in that area, so I knew exactly what kind of terrain I'm going to get. So I was trying to emphasize that climbing with volume, but I was also trying to emphasize doing it on tired legs, because in 200 miles you don't get to recover. You have to run like 50, 60 miles a day, maybe recover for an hour in an aid station, or you're taking a nap, and
Yeah.
then you are going to do it again, and then you're going to do it again, like day after day after day. So I was trying to simulate some of that in the training as well. So a few times I did like 30 miles run on say Saturday, and then I will do come back home, eat, drink, sleep, and then next day go do another 20 miles, right? And
Wow.
then this is a back-to-back long run, and then on the Monday, instead of taking the Monday off, I'll just do a flat run, but I'll still do like a half marathon, like 13, 14 miles, right? So I'm really simulating that, so there's one cycle I remember that I think it's at the 100-mile weeks. I had like 4 back-to-back long run, because that's what in my mind, right? In the actual race I had to go 4 days of running. So I simulated that, like 25 miles, 20 miles, then 13 miles, then again 20 miles. So 4 days of not 200 miles, but still my legs are tired, my body is tired, but I'm just running, right? Slow pace. Not in those cases, don't emphasize intensity, but that's the kind of just training. It's not just a physical training, right? This is also mental training. That's the way I did the mental part of it. And some of those run was also in the evening and night, so with headlight, like when you were like Friday, I have done some run after work. I'll go to the trailhead and run, start the run in evening and run until midnight, right? So it's
Wow.
like I'm really simulating,
Yeah.
that night running experience, come back home, sleep, and in the morning I run again, right? So it's really, trying to simulating that,
So how were
mental
you
part of
feeling? How were you feeling about this? Were you was it easy? I mean, you just make it very sound like you just came back from the long run, sleep, and got up and went in the morning. Was it as simple as that, or are you like,
in the
what the heck am I? What the heck have I gotten
yeah,
myself into?
yeah,
Why am I
yeah.
doing this? Why don't I just look at those guys just having a good Friday night, having a good beer and watching a movie, and you're like logging it out here because you paid for it. How did you
Yeah,
feel
so
about
that
it?
yeah, so you're right about that. So these races are not cheap. So you definitely you pay for it, so you have to work for it,
Pay to
right?
suffer.
Yeah, pay to suffer. No, I think jokes apart, I actually for me,
Hmm.
I actually love the training part more than the racing
Hmm.
part.
Hmm. Hmm.
As I was telling you, that I'm very curious about, how you prepare yourself. How do you do the mental part of the physical part of the training? Yeah, you can. There's a
Yeah,
lot of books
but,
out
but
there,
how
right?
was it for you? Those like how
Mm.
I mean, how was it for you for those that kind of training block? Were you tired and exhausted when you came back, and you had to push yourself out in the next morning, or was it like, yeah, okay, it was not too bad, I'm fine? I
It
mean,
it's gotten better and better, right? So that's how our body adapt, right? First time you do back to back long runs like that, you'll be like totally exhausted,
okay,
right?
so you were not
But
exhausted
no,
those
I
training
mean,
block.
first time, yes, but as
Okay,
you do it again and again,
okay.
your body starts adapting, and you'll be amazed actually, like how much like a short recovery, just even 1 hour recovery can do to your body.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
If you just if run continuously for 10 hours, and if you just
Hmm.
sit down or lie down for 1 hour, sleep some, if you can sleep for 10 minutes,
Hmm.
half an hour will be even better, right? And you get up, you will feel like you are back to square one, right? So
Mm.
it is really, of course, you need some training to get there to, I think, that
Yeah.
kind. But that is one of the main learning I know through the training process, as well as when I was doing the race. I understood it looks very difficult from outside,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But our body has this amazing way to learn how to recover, right? And
Mm.
do that much work and recover fast, and when it
Mm.
knows that you have to do it again. So that's something that I think physically we can train for. And also I think the mental part is huge in 200 miles.
Mm.
I think is uh, from 100 to 200. I think that's the major difference. Like
Yeah.
100 miles is more intense because they give you less time. You have to
Mm.
finish it depending on race, but it's generally harder, right? So on average maybe they're giving you 30 hours. Some race will give you more, 30, 33, 36, depending on the terrain. Some race even more, like hard rock is really hard. But still is the you have to go faster per mile
Yeah.
basis. In 200 miles they give you a long time, but the problem is that you can never think of the end, right? Because you're like if you're
Mm.
in mile 10, if you're thinking of mile 200, you'll never get there, right? So mentally
Mhm.
you have to kind of prepare. Okay, I'm just running this mile, I'm just running to the next aid station, and I'll decide later like what I'm going to do next. So you can't really,
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
prepare your mind to be in now, right? This
Yeah.
Zen
Yeah.
mentality, right?
Yeah.
And most of the
Yeah.
runners I met is amazing. Like they all are like that. They're telling me, some runners even said, I don't even know what's coming next. Like I have not even read the course description. How much elevations? They are asking me. I said, you don't
Okay.
even know? Well, no, I try not to read. I just do this mile, right? I
Yeah.
don't. So
Yeah.
there is this guy I met. He's totally Zen. I said, wow, that's like, I have done so much research. I almost know, right, where the hills are, where the downhills are. And this guy has no idea. And he's just happy. He said, I'm just enjoying
Yeah.
every miles of it. I said, that's an interesting way to go. Like, then you don't have any anxiety. You just say, okay,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just go, and, I just take care of myself and I go.
Right.
It's
Right.
yeah, yeah. It's perfect Zen. So,
Yeah. 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 So got it. So it seems like your final training block. You're doing 100 miles a week, but it doesn't seem like. But it seems like you've already gotten to a point where you've fair bit of endurance for all that 6 to 8 months of training you've had, and you're able to take this
mm,
volume of training, right? And makes sense. So, and then you have the taper, and
yeah.
then D Day, then, right?
Yeah.
Let's get to
So
that.
yeah,
Yeah,
so before we move on, like I think
yeah,
that
yeah.
the point you just made, that really helped, right? That because I do marathon training, this high intensity in the marathon cycle, I have never going above 75. That's my limit so far.
Mm,
Maybe in the future I can go, but because I'm running so many intense, there are three hard runs: one tempo run, one interval run, and one marathon pace long run, which is like, I'm running 15, 16 miles on a weekend, but a part of it 5 miles to 8, 9 miles at my target marathon pace, which is really hard. So I'm
mm,
doing these three hard runs every week. As a result, I don't go above 70, 75. But I did that before Boston, right? That 2.5 months I got. I think that built a base, right? After
yeah.
that, when I did the ultra running block on top of that, it actually came natural, right? I
Mm,
was, as
mm,
you're saying, how are you feeling? I did not felt super exhausted. I said, yeah, I can do
mm,
it. Like it's it was hard. I'm not going to say it was like super easy. It was hard, but my body was absorbing it, and you feel that, right? You have to really listen to your body. Am I
yeah,
stretching myself too thin? Is there an injury coming? I did not feel that way. It felt
yeah.
really good. And then the taper I generally do 3 weeks of taper for
Mm,
any big event, marathon plus event, 3 weeks of taper. First week is not much. I just drop 20%. And the last 2 weeks I really drop, like, for almost 50% second, and then 70% last week. So
mhm,
for me, the taper is very strategic and sharp, last 2 3 weeks. And I also did heat training the last 2 weeks. So the heat training, the concept of heat training is you run for half an hour, and it was actually hot already in Seattle, not that hot like where
Hmm.
you are, but half for 45 minutes run in the sun, and then you go sit in a dry sauna for half an
Okay.
hour.
Oh,
So
interesting. What is that
yeah,
supposed to
so
do?
so it's really uh, get your body ready for very hot days, right? So
Hmm.
anyone going to Badwater 135 Western State, these are some of the very hard hot races, right? Bigfoot is not known for being that hot, but it can be.
Hmm.
Like last year, first day of Bigfoot, the temperature was 100 degrees. So a lot of people dropped off on first day, because the first day of Bigfoot also exposed. It goes up there around Mount St. Helens, no shade, open volcano, blast zone. A lot of people dropped off on first day. I said, and I was thinking, okay, there may be a heat wave in Washington. Last year there was a heat wave. I said it may be a heat wave, and it was actually reasonably hot in the race time as well. So I was thinking, okay, I need to get ready for the heat. So that was one. But heat training has other great benefit. So what does heat training does, as you ask, when you go sit in that sauna for that half an hour, your body like sweat uncontrollably, right? So there's a couple of things happening. Your blood plasma level going up. uh, so that training adaptation, right? So the body thinks, oh, I need to make more blood uh, to take this kind of temperature. So if you scientifically, if you do that kind of heat training 10 days in a row, your blood plasma level goes up by I don't remember the number percentage right now, but it's marked. So this is like come from scientific research. So that one big benefit. So you are literally
Hmm.
is like legal doping, right? You are you are
Well,
literally
that explains why people who run in Houston, Texas are all very fit.
Right. They are already, they're already doing hit
Already
training,
got high
right?
plasma,
Natural hit training. Yeah, they have a high amount of,
blood
blood
plasma.
plasma and RBC count on their in their blood already than people like us in Seattle or Vancouver, or
Interesting.
more colder area. And the other thing it does, I don't know how exactly it works. The body actually gets more energy from the fat. So fat metabolism
Hmm.
efficiency increases. It doesn't go to the
Okay.
glycogen; it goes to the fat. So that's one great thing that actually you need for a longer race. You want to burn fat, not glycogen, because
Hmm.
that's more efficient and longer term gives you more energy. So those are the two things that really help. And third thing is, of course, the sweat capability, right? So body
Right.
actually doesn't panic. Like when you go to 100 degree,
Hmm.
body doesn't panic. Body knows exactly how to sweat, how much to sweat. So that also a learning. Like if you heat it like a hot day, the body is not going to. And I actually felt this heat training. I did 10 days of sauna training. In that taper period, I did 10 days of sauna training, and I actually felt great. The last 2 days on Bigfoot was pretty hot, and
Hmm.
I did not feel a thing because my body was totally used to that. So this is something that I did for the first time in my life, actually. So that's why I
Interesting.
want to talk about it. And I think everyone, like anyone running these hot races, known hot Western states, Badwater comes to mind, and there are a few others famous ones. I have seen, everyone generally try to do that, right? Because they know it's going to be, 100
Yeah.
degree, 120 degree. And if you have not gone with that kind of training, you have very low chance of success.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Great. Yeah. So now let's get to the D-Day. You're all set now.
Yeah.
Roper, let's get to the D-Day.
Yeah, so this is a logistically actually very interesting race, right? So it's a point to point race. It starts
Hmm.
from a place called Marble Mountain Snow Park. It's like a parking lot, literally, and that ends
Okay.
in a town called Rundle, a small town, middle of nowhere, pretty much in Washington, near White Pass ski area. Uh, it ends in actually a school track, White Pass High School, their school track. So logistically, what they make you do is come to the finish line. Yeah,
Hmm.
and they on the morning they give you a ride with a bus to the
Okay.
start line for 200 milers, so that you can leave all your cars, etc., in the finish line, and then you go to the start line and start running. And after 4, 5, 6 days, whatever you want to take, then you are back, right?
So how
And you
long is
have
the drive? How long is the drive by
the
road to get to the start line?
it takes like 3 hours by
Okay.
bus. Yeah,
Okay.
but I did not take the bus. I had another friend coming in to run the 40 milers, so they also have a 40 milers at the same time.
Oh, okay.
So what I did, I actually parked the car. I dropped all my drop bags. I went to the finish line the day before. They take pictures. They give you all the information. They check your bag. So you are supposed to carry a minimum set of mandatory gears like a puffy
Hmm.
jacket, a GPS device. You need to have the GPS map on your phone or on your
Okay.
watch. So they check everything. So they're very thorough, which is very good. You need to have an emergency BV, etc., etc. So because it's such a remote race, and
Yeah.
often you are going like almost 20 miles. There is no one there,
Hmm.
right? So they make sure that you can survive if you are, if you've broken your ankle or ran out of water or whatever, right? You can
Right.
survive in the wild for at least a few hours before they can organize a search and rescue party and come for you.
Hmm. Hmm.
And they're very good. Actually, every aid station they have this communication center. People are like sitting there with satellite antenna and tracking all the runners. So it's kind of uh, very nice to see that you are actually in nice hands. People, they know
Hmm.
exactly who are the runners are, and they are monitoring the situation. So which is which is great. Like for a race of this size, they do that. So anyway, to go back to the point. So I actually had a friend who's going to run the 40 milers. So I stayed with him the night before in a hotel, and then we drove directly to the start line, because for him 40 mile is a loop, so he'll come back, so
Okay.
he can park the car there. So I did not have to come to Randall and take that 3 hours of bus ride, which was very nice. So I went there in the morning, uh, wished him great. So he started. So 40 miler starts at 7 a.m. My race won't start until 9 a.m. Around 8
Okay.
a.m., all the 200 milers came in. The buses, the 6 buses came in full of runners, and we got ready and we started. The race got started at 9 a.m. Yeah. So the first day was very familiar to me. This
Hmm.
is the fast 50 miles, 60 miles. It's actually in Mount St. Helens area,
Hmm.
which the I have ran that course before as practice, also as other part of other races. uh, beautiful area. Like you literally go through this Mount St. Helens volcanic blast zones, different types of ecosystem. There are areas where you have to go into this deep ravine and then come
Hmm.
up the other. There are ropes. Actually, you literally have to climb using the ropes. Otherwise, it's so steep you can't go in.
Hmm.
There are several creek crossing, but it's very dramatic. Fast 50 miles, like it's open. You see the Mount St. Helens, then you can see the Mount Adams on the other side. It's really people who never been in that area. They're like, I'm seeing out of state people like, wow, what it looks
Yeah.
like a moonland. Uh, but very few aid stations. The first aid station you hit as 12 miles, which is good. Then the next one is at 30 miles wind reach, so there is a 18 miles gap, right? uh, so that's why this is like all 100 miles you differentiate. They already in a different league, right? In 100 miles we generally hit a station less than 10 miles. 12 miles
Hmm.
will be high. Here you are starting with 18-mile aid
Right.
station. And then so my strategy was to keep going
Hmm.
um, fast, because I thought I can go at least 80, 90 miles and then try to sleep. That was because I generally have a problem of sleeping. I've seen, like, especially, this is a, so okay, take a step back, right? So in a 50 or 100-mile race, you don't think of sleeping. You just
Right.
go
Right.
and finish it. In a
Right.
200-mile race, I think the main difference is you have to figure out how you sleep,
Hmm.
because there's no way, even the elite runners, they also sleep. You can't go, even the elite runners takes 50, 60 hours, right? And I
Right.
don't think the human body can go straight 60 hours without sleeping. So
Hmm.
they take nap, uh, maybe an hour nap, maybe once. Like for us, we have to take multiple because we take longer. So I took
Right.
95,
Right.
96 hours. So that's one of the strategy for 200 miles. You have to think about, when are you going to sleep. Some people
Hmm.
try to sleep every night. They say, okay, every time, I run all day in the night, as soon as night comes, I will try to sleep a couple of hours,
Hmm.
then I'll go. Other
So every 12
strategies,
hours, like almost 12 hours of running and then take a sleep and then
12
continue.
hours more. Yeah. The
Hmm.
like fast day, you can say, okay, 9 a.m. start, I'll run until midnight, which is
Hmm.
12 plus 3, 15 hours. And then I'll try to sleep for 2, 3 hours, then I'll start again at 3 a.m., whatever, or 4 a.m.
Hmm.
uh, that's one way of thinking. Some people do that, and I thought it is not going to work for me, because I just can't. If there's a fixed time to sleep, and then I'm not tired, I won't be able to sleep.
Hmm.
So I subscribe to the other thought, which is, go as long as you can, and then when you feel like sleeping, just sleep. It will be
Hmm.
easier to sleep that way. So in my mind, I thought I can go, first time I just go 65 miles. So that will take me at least 12, 15, more than that, like 15 to 18 hours. Uh, then if I am tired enough, I'll sleep. Otherwise, I'll keep going up to 90 miles, something like. So you also have to think. So this is the mistake I made. I was trying to sleep in the sleep station. So uh, so this race has 8 stations, and some of those 8 stations are also sleep station, meaning they
Hmm.
provide some tents for sleeping. And these are like
Hmm.
big tents. You go in, there is some blankets and some mattresses. You can lie down and sleep. uh, but it's very hard to sleep because it's a very
Hmm.
noisy, right? People's alarms going, so people are trying to sleep for 2 hours, so some people have put out
Right.
alarms going on. The volunteers are coming in and they're trying to wake someone up, because volunteers are trying to help runners.
Hmm.
And these are like tent, like, people are coming in, people are talking
It's like an
outside.
Indian wedding.
Yeah, how do you sleep, right? So this is so I'll tell you the whole story, what happened. So I ran 65 miles. So the first night I ran through the night, gorgeous, like it was full moon, over Mount Margaret backcountry. You can see St. Helens and Adams. Even in the night, you see those giant volcanoes are rising. And then in the early morning, around 4 a.m., I reach this place called Norway Pass. And I did not have planned to sleep there. I said, okay, I'll probably keep going. But as I reached there, I said, I'm feeling a little tired, and this is a good aid station, sleep station. I'll give it a try if I can sleep. So as soon as I reached that aid station, I took a little bit of food and I went straight to to the sleep station, trying to sleep. I spent an hour and a half. No, nothing. I said, okay, this is not
Hmm.
going to work. So I got out. I started running again. So again, I at that point I did not panic. I said, okay, it's okay. I have not slept, but I'm not tired probably.
Hmm.
Then at 90 mile there was another aid station, so I tried to sleep there. It was very noisy. I couldn't sleep.
Hmm.
By that time, this is now second day, right? I am almost 30 hours, 32 hours. I have not slept, continuously running. At this hour time, I have started panicking. And I'm talking to
Hmm.
other runners. I said, "Have you slept?" And mostly everyone, even the veterans, like who has run 200 many times, they are saying, "Yeah, yeah, I slept twice already, half an hour, half an hour."
Hmm.
And I was telling them, I am not able to. What should I do? Like, this is like you talk, right? Other people. He said, you need to sleep. Yeah, some people say.
Hmm.
One guy told me that and 36, 38. If you have 36 to 38 hours, you have not slept at all, you're going to hit that wall. Uh,
Hmm.
so all these things playing in my mind, and I'm I'm trying to sleep. I tried two more times, and I could not. And that night, second night, so I'm now running 2 nights straight without sleeping. I'm already into I've crossed 100 miles already. And then that night I started hallucinating, right? And then I was
Hmm.
running through this forest. And in the forest, I'm alone in the middle of the night. It's 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the middle of the night, and I'm clearly seeing things that does not exist. Right? I'm seeing a big television screen. I'm seeing people,
Whoa.
with tents in the side of the trail, and I go close to that. There is nothing there. I said, "This is not good." Right? This is not good. So
And
I
you're
try
not
to.
tired, and you're not exhausted, or
I'm not
yet
exhausted. Yeah,
sleepy. Hmm.
I'm not that exhausted, but I'm seeing things. I said, okay,
Yeah.
this is now my brain is just
Yeah.
playing with
Yeah.
me, right? So I give it a shot to trail nap. So there was a I was crossing through this like a state park kind of area, and they had like uh, campground, and there's a picnic table. I saw a picnic table next to the trail. I said, okay, this is my chance, because
Hmm.
I could not sleep in the noisy tent. So I went there, I lied down, I put my puffy, I slept for 15 minutes. Great sleep, 15 minutes, but it was
Hmm.
cold. I woke up shivering. I said, "Oh my God! If I could just," I fell asleep but could not. But it lasted only 15 minutes. So, but still, 15 minutes sleep. I went to the air station, which was around 3 miles away from there. I tried to sleep there again. Again, so noisy. So I want to sleep, but I could not sleep. So
Hmm.
I said, okay, could not. So at this point, I'm totally panicking, right? I'm said, okay, okay, my race is probably over. I have done well, like so far. I am like in 110 miles in, but if I cannot sleep, I cannot finish, right? I'm going to
Hmm.
I'll start hallucinating. My body is going to shut down. So what do I do? So I started uh, forgetting about the pace. Initially, I was going hard. Then I said, okay, just slow down, right? Because I have not slept. So I started more, slowing down a bit. And I know two of my friends are coming that day to pace me. So I said, okay, maybe they can help me with this, right? Because they have a car. I can go into the car and probably sleep. But that day, on third day, so this course is also remarkable because first 100 miles is okay. And then next 100 miles, between 130 to 180, it just throws. We were laughing at it, our runners. It just throws, the course just throws kitchen sink after kitchen sink after kitchen sink, like smaller, bigger, bigger, that see if you can survive. Like it gets harder and harder and harder. There are like 3 or 4 sections that has massive climbs, and then there's one section before click it at, there are like 4 river crossing. You have to cross this in your knee deep river, and then you have to climb this huge peak. Then there is an area where there is no trail, like it just gets harder and harder, right? And it's very difficult because if those sections were in the first 100 miles, you're fresh, you can tackle them, right? But
Yeah.
it comes
Yeah.
later. So anyway, but fortunately, after that day, that my friends show up. So one friend paced me for one section, and then in this was and I reached a place called chain of lakes in the night, middle of the night. Actually, it's kind of evening, around 9 p.m. And I said, and we were talking, right? I was telling them, like, that's where my race is going to end if I can't finish, if I can't sleep. And he said, we will make sure you sleep. So as soon as we go to the there, they help me to eat whatever, change whatever, and then they drag me to the car, put me in a sleeping bag, close the door, say, we'll come back 3 hours later, you have to sleep. And magic, right? I No noise in the car, I just fall asleep before I even hear their voice disappearing in the distance. I feel like I'm dozing off, right? 3 hours later, they are knocking, opening the door. Hey, Arnab, wake up. It's 3 hours. I wake up and I feel like it's day one, right? I said, okay,
Nice.
now I'm back. I can finish it. That's still another 70 miles to go from there. Okay, that's like around 100. That was around 145 miles. Yeah, there is another 56, almost 70 miles to go. So the next segment, Amit, my other friend. So first was paced by Sajir, and then from there we start at 3 a.m. That's the famous clicky tat section. That's like legendary section of Bigfoot because you have to cross four four rivers, mandatory river crossing, and one is like really big, Sispas River. You have to just go knee deep, and then you start climbing this peak called Elk Peak. So Amit is going to pace me. Thank God, right? I have someone like to help me, to come with me. So we go there. We do that section relatively fast, actually. Reach the next one as 9 a.m. But then some setback, right? So initially the plan was those two guys, Sajid and Amit, were supposed to pace me to the end, but the planning did not work out that way. They had to go back. So I said, oh, now I have to go again alone. Like last, there's still 3 more sections left, and 2 of those sections are fairly hard. I said, okay, I can't really, think about that. I need to go. So the next section was really hard, from Clickitat to Twin Rivers. And then I went get there, Twin Sister. That was again at night, like 9:30 p.m. And that, because it's so much towards the end of the course, it was quiet. That aid station was quiet. I said, okay, I got there. What if I can take another 45 minutes sleep, because the last sleep was already 24 hours ago. So I go to this time I felt like a pro. I go to the sleep station. I put my phone, and there was no one in the tent, just me, which is great. For 1 hour alarm. Within first 15 minutes, I fall asleep. 45 minutes sleep. My alarms goes on, and I get up. I said, "Oh, now I get it. This is how to sleep, right?" So I felt like a pro at that time. On the 4th night, finally I managed to sleep, and I wanted to sleep, and I slept just 45 minutes, but that's enough. So I woke up. 15 minutes, I'm out of the aid station. And then this amazing thing happens that night. I want to talk about, like, in the night I'm going alone, and again you have to climb this huge peak called Pompey's Peak, very rough trail. And after the Pompey's Peak, trail just disappears. There's no trail. It's just ribbon in the forest. You have to just look at the ribbon and go.
Wow.
So there used to be a trail before, but it's so remote, the trail is not even maintained. And it also become like a forest road kind of. It used to be like old forest road. Now it's not maintained, so the forest has pretty much taken over, and it's very hard when you're in the middle of the night alone, and you have to just look for ribbon. That's it only. So I kept losing them like 3 or 4 times. I said, where am I going? This dead tree, this cannot be, like, I don't see the ribbon. Then I kind of go back 5-6 minutes to find the ribbon. I was like, oh, I missed that one. So after I did, like, this is like sleep deprived, right? I have, at that time, I have only slept 4 hours in 4 days and ran 200 miles. So it was physically, I'm still there, but my mind is not there. Mind is not thinking. It is not finding the ribbon. It's just going. So I was like almost like slogging through the night, through this completely trailless section. And it started to become, morning in the day. The night dawned. I see the light, and then a big noise behind me. I thought it's a bear, so I turned around with my pole and see a guy running there, another runner.
Okay.
And he's actually running. And I said, "How are you doing?" I said, "I'm so sleepy. I can't even find the trail." But yeah, it's so hard, man. Every direction looks the same, right? But good thing is you can run here. And he just ran past me. I said, "Oh, that's true. I can." Means the terrain was runnable. I said, "Why are you not running?" that actually will help me. I did not even think about it. It is. So
Right.
I was literally walking. I said, "Oh, I can run." So I immediately stopped. I took off my jacket. I said, "Okay, get into run mode." Another last 20 miles to go, and I'm going to run all 20 miles. Like I kind of, it totally changed. He totally changed my mindset. So
Mm.
I took off my jacket. I put the poles in the back. I ate a bar. I said, "Okay, I'm going to run now," and I started running. Uh, and I felt so much better. And it was becoming a day, right? That's the last day. And I reached that's the last air station. After last air station, it's really easy. It's another 13 miles from the last air station, but it's on forest road for first 6 miles, and then last 7 miles on paved road, because you are going back into the civilization. And this course is so remote. We have not seen a single person for 4 days. Like, it's just runners. I'm just seeing runners and aid station people. There's no biker, no hiker, no backpacker. No one goes there. This is like remote part of the Washington. And now we are coming back to the civilization. So I felt like a rush of energy when I. So this is like, this is, I want to talk about like how much I realize how much we can do, right? Even after 4 days of so much hard work, sleep deprivation, I felt like, I can keep going another 3-4 days. Like, I had no muscle injury, I had no fatigue, almost no fatigue. I won't say no fatigue, but I felt as fresh as I can go, keep going, right? I did not feel like I need to stop. And that last 30 mile actually ran. Last 2 miles actually ran like 9 minutes mile. So it was amazing. Like
Wow.
how
After
how good.
201, after 205 miles.
Right. So it was crazy experience. Like, it's like a roller coaster, right? I started so high, then went into the deep low, could not sleep. Then that 3 hours sleep in my friend's car, that kind of brought me back. Then I went back again into that low of sleep deprivation. And then this guy just, he ran past me and just, he ignited a fire, right? And then I just
Yeah.
finished it strong, right? uh, and then when I, even after finishing it, I felt so strong. Like, I saw other
Mm.
people who are finishing it, they can barely walk, they are almost struggling. And I was thinking, like, you know I I'm not hurt, right, at this point. I'm tired, but I had no injury, no, almost no fatigue. I can keep going on. So I think this is interesting, right? Probably, I, because of my inexperience, I did not push as hard as I could during the
Mm.
during the race. So that's why probably I had
Yep.
more left. If I pushed more, I could have probably finished 10-12 hours before, but I would be probably more exhausted. But again, I think I played conservatively, and I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Right? I'm at peace with that.
Yeah. So it seems like you're ready
Yeah.
for the 300 miler now.
Yeah, there's no such thing as 300 milers, but there are 240 milers,
Yeah.
Moab 240 milers, and there are harder 200 milers in Europe. There is one called Tor. It's in Italy. It's 210
Mm.
miles, but in Alps, Dolomiti, that's hard. There is a something called Swiss Peaks Ultra, which is 250 miles, but you have to climb three Everests. Really, it's like 90,000 feet of elevation. So those are even
Wow.
even harder and
Difficult
harder
ones.
races. Yeah, so I'm looking at those, kind of thinking, but I don't know to do too many. Like, once a year, I think is great for 200 milers. Yeah, so I want to do
Yeah.
another
Yeah.
one next year. Yeah, that's the
Well,
goal.
congratulations
Mhm.
on the great finish there, and you seem to be kind of out of 135, you're at 73, which is a fairly good finish. I think you're probably the only Indian over there. I didn't see any other person of
Yeah,
Indian
no,
origin in the
yeah,
135.
yeah.
So kind of the
No, no,
unique brown guy
yeah,
running,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same too. Yeah,
right?
there are actually two of my other friends were supposed to run, but they could not. They did not. They had to. They,
Yeah,
they did not
yeah,
even start.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So I, yeah, they left me as the only one, only Indian people
yeah.
to run it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing
Mm,
uh, during the race, what worked for you from a nutritional perspective? Because
mm,
one thing I have heard is in these long 200-mile kind of races, the key thing is to manage your energy levels, and the right food is
mm.
important. So what do you do for your food?
Yeah, yeah. Great question. I thought about this long and hard, and wondered what I'm gonna do, uh, whether I can. So my goal was to, of course, eat well, like without eating right calorie, taking right calorie. You can't you can't run calorie deficient for 200 miles. Like it's going
Right.
to catch up with you. But at the same time, so they actually have really good food here in the aid stations, though
Hmm.
they are far apart. But when you reach the aid station, the service is really good. Great volunteers,
Mm.
great people. As soon as you go in, they will ask, they literally take you order, like, what do you want to eat? Like, we have burgers, we have quesadilla, we have, can make you mac and cheese, we have soup, we have potatoes, and so you can literally, go, and it's almost like a restaurant. You can say, okay, give
Mm.
me this, give me that, and so the point. My point is, my point was, I wanted to eat real food, right? At each station, I wanted to
Mm.
eat real food, but at the same time, I was worried that as my body wears down, later part of the course, like 100 to 200 miles, will I be able to eat it, right? Will
Mm.
I be, my stomach can hold them, right? So I need backup. So in the drop bags, I did a lot of my own food, which is mostly liquid food, like tailwinds,
Okay.
gels. So the first 100 miles, I tried not to use them at all. No liquid food,
Mm.
no liquid energy. I try to eat. I know I can eat solid food. I'll keep it solid, real food. So I was carrying mostly bars first 100 miles. In between, I was eating like clip bars type of like solid food. And when I'm going to the aid station, I'm eating real food, burger,
Mm.
quesadilla, whatever they have, right? Soup, ramen, whatever. And that worked great. And then later in the part, I knew I had tailwind as a backup, but I didn't need them because I was able to consume aid station food pretty well, and then I
Okay.
supplemented that with gels and bars and some tailwinds for the last 60 70 miles. But
Okay.
there was no stomach upset. But I was very particular about the calorie intake.
Okay.
I was, yeah, like every hour I was making sure that I eat something. When I go to the aid station, I was saying, okay, it's okay to stop for an hour. Doesn't matter. That I
Mm.
need to have at least, two meals. Like I go there and immediately eat a burger or something. Then I, do all the stuff, change, massaging myself, whatever, right? And then at the end I'll eat something else a little bit more, right? And then carry something, like they will actually pack you in a ziploc bags, like a quesadilla or a burrito. They will just make and can you make a breakfast burrito for me, and they'll do it, and I'll just carry it. So I was doing that. I was not skipping it. As every aid station, methodically I will eat well, drink a pickle juice every. That was in my drop bag, one pickle juice bottle every drop bag. So I was drinking that to avoid any kind of muscle cramp. I had some recovery drink I kept in the this is like protein drink, uh, high density protein drink in
Mm.
every aid station. So I was supplementing what they have with what I know worked for me. So these are the things that I actually take every day, right? When I would
Makes
do a
sense.
hard run in training, I'll take that the same recovery drink I actually took there. So I was supplementing what they have with mine, and it actually worked perfectly.
Terrific. And this is there wildlife in these trails? I mean, has anybody encountered wildlife during these races?
There are there are there are bears, a lot of bears. I have not seen any. Yeah, I think, yeah. In Washington, we don't have grizzlies. We only have
Okay.
brown and black bears. Yeah, and they are very shy. So yeah, I have not actually seen anything other than marmots and deers. Pretty
Mm.
tame wildlife. Yeah, nothing fierce.
Good. Thankfully.
Yeah.
Great, awesome. So
Mm. Yeah.
congratulations again. And it seems like your eyes are already set for the next ones, which are going to be more tougher and more difficult. Um, so hey, I mean, I think we covered quite a bit of ground. We spent I spent good time talking about your prep and how you built up, which is very very valuable. Thanks for sharing some of the very finer nuances of how you built up your endurance for something as. And I hope the listeners and the viewers really take away something, for whatever level of training they're doing. And again, congratulations. And
Thank you.
I think kind of coming to wrap up here. I wish you all the best for the next one, and let's stay in touch. And hopefully, we get back again once you've done your next crazy adventure.
Yeah. Hopefully I can, I'll be able to continue, more interesting, exciting, races like this, and of course share my experience for your viewers. That would be my privilege to do that. Yeah. Thank you very much, Santosh, for having me.
Thanks, Arnab. I'll let you go. Enjoy the rest of the weekend and rest of the day, and we'll stay in touch.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.